get started this morning, or it's still morning for a couple minutes, and kind of give you a little idea of what we're trying to do today. We've never done this before. We call it the Audience Appreciation Day, and kind of the idea behind that was that all the speakers that we're going to have today are really members of our audience to begin with, because they've been to some of our events, and some of you are regularly attending the lunches anyway. So we just thought it'd be a great idea to be able to give you an opportunity to talk for a few minutes. And the way the format is that they can talk about their own business. They can talk about a little training if they want to, or something they've discovered in their business that might be beneficial to the rest of us in our businesses. So that's kind of the format. Now, this is going to be kind of like a hit and run session. So they have exactly 5 minutes, and I've got a timer up here. And once the timer is at 5 minutes, that's it, okay? Now, if they don't use the whole 5 minutes, they can't redeem it, okay? So, and there's not going to be any Q&A at the conclusion of their talk. We would just never be able to get through all 8 of our people, because the 8 people that we have, you just figure, do a little quick math. 8 times 5 minutes is 40 minutes, and we got like 45 minutes before we stop today. So it's going to be boom, 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 boom. So be prepared. And I sent notices out to all of the speakers as to where you're at in the process, who's first, who's on second, and who bats cleanup. So with that, we want to welcome anybody who might be in on Facebook today, because we are also broadcasting on Facebook. So I never know who's on Facebook, but we'll see. So we are ready to start, and I am going to ask Mr. David Cranfield from Small Business Outfitters to come up and start his presentation.
All right, let's see if I can get a couple of seconds in here before he starts the clock. I didn't practice my auction voice, so we'll see if I can make it in 5 minutes. There's really no better opportunity than being a small business owner, in my opinion. Just the freedom, the flexibility that it gives you, the lifestyle, the opportunity. It's like being the pilot of your own plane. You can fly as far as you want, as high as you want, and take whoever you want with you. But imagine that you're 30,000 feet in the air, riding along in a plane, and the clouds are below you, and you're just enjoying it, and all of a sudden somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, we need you to fly the plane. Never flown a plane before. It's kind of a metaphor for my entrepreneurial journey, sitting down, having to get a handle on all the buttons and the sticks and the levers and what the instruments say. And granted, your personal entrepreneurial journey doesn't have to be that dramatic, but most times with the clients and the small business owners I talk to, that's what it can feel like running a business a lot of times, is it can just be overwhelming. Everything you have to keep a handle on to keep your craft afloat and in the air. When I started Small Business Outfitters, I started it primarily with the mission of building equity in family-owned businesses. And the way I do that is to help provide a clear path to entrepreneurial prosperity. The main way I do this is to help craft a profit blueprint. Profitability is the sustainability of a business, so I help craft that around a business owner's unique values and goals. And it's different than a business plan. What's different about it is it's setting up the behaviors that your money has to follow rather than any projections or budgets or anything like that. So it starts day one with you in your business and helps set that up. If you can pull up slide 1, I just wanted to provide hopefully some useful information for everybody. There are handouts on the first few tables. All of y'all sitting in the back, not wanting to be in the front seaters, then you may have to go grab those if you want them. And then also, if y'all that have those at your table want to pass those around, they're there for you if you want to see them. One of the things that I do is advise around a framework called Fix This Next. So a lot of times, because of how overwhelming business ownership can be, it's helpful to know what you need to identify and work on first. And the concept comes out of comparing it to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if you've heard of that and are familiar with it, you understand that there's just basic things that if we don't have first and taken care of, then as you go up this ladder of safety and belonging and esteem, those things don't matter if you don't have the basic survival needs that you have. So imagine you're sitting in a restaurant eating pizza, enjoying things, talking about all the great things you've accomplished and done, and then all of a sudden you start to choke on your food and you can't grasp a breath of air, and you wonder if you're going to survive this. Well, that's the same concepts apply to your business. As there's certain aspects, and if you'll go to the next slide, known as the business hierarchy of needs, that all of us can recognize. If you don't have cash coming into your business, it's like choking for air and struggling for oxygen. So that creation of cash is the primary level of the pyramid that you want to build on. And then, of course, profitability. And I'm a certified profit first professional. So we're turning the whole idea of gap accounting upside down and saying that really you take profit first, because that is what is sustainable and it creates the real equity in your business. After that, then you want to get to a level of scalability and growth, and you've got to create systems, and you've got to create things that it's not all on your shoulders as the owner, and you can hand it off. So that's the order. At that point in the hierarchy business of needs, it's about what you're getting for the business. If you grow to a point in your business, then it's kind of that self-actualization in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Then you can get to a place where you're giving back. So the idea of impact and making a difference in your employee's life and your customer's life, and having a real purpose and mission that gives back to community is the next level. And then ultimately is legacy. And so the ability to step out of the day-to-day operations or the oversight and have maybe hire a CEO to run your business for you, and yet you're still a part of it because of what you've done to build that business, are the different graduating levels. Like I say, you're welcome. If anybody wants an electronic version of this, I've got a survey online, or I can just email you this PDF that I've left out here. And it just has some thought questions for you to think about. And ultimately, what I do with my clients is sit down and go through the empirical data to make sure that they're achieving each of those levels. Thank you. David Cranfield, Small Business Outfitters.
You having technical difficulties? I do, 54, 53, okay. One of my pet peeves is when you hear about people saying, we want to develop talent. They forget to add the oh so important part, we want to develop talent that can afford to pay for it. So coaching rugby, I've come across a lot of kids that would love to be able to play, but don't have the opportunity because, and I've seen it very, very real with my granddaughter. Oh, you got a tournament in LA, it's going to cost $2,000. And you got a tournament in Florida, it's going to cost another $2,000. Not many families have that, and that becomes a barrier. So I came up with a concept to develop the West Texas Academy of Performance Academy for rugby and soccer. I've partnered with a gym here in town, and we are working on those two sports primarily because they are developing, and there's two major events coming up in the next couple of years that will bring these two sports very, very clearly into focus in the U.S. community. 2026 is the Soccer World Cup hosted by the U.S. and Canada. 2027 is the Rugby World Cup hosted by US and Canada, and 2028 is the Olympics featuring rugby and soccer. So in 3 years, the US community is going to get a significant dose of these sports. Next slide. So the vision of the organization is to provide high performance training, coaching, and interventions to optimize performance personally, academically, and athletically to college age athletes, reducing the barriers to performance. Next slide. So, barriers to performance are self-awareness. Do I have the ability? Sometimes you have being told, you're really good. But that was because they were trying to be nice to you. And on the other hand, you have someone that is really talented, but doesn't know it. Maybe they haven't had someone that could point it out to them, or they weren't made aware of it. The other issue is the pay to play. This idea that if I don't have the money, I can't perform. There's tons of kids that have immense athletic ability, and they just don't have the opportunity to spend $50 to go to a local gym and be developed. They don't have it. And then the other one is the performance-centric programs. We do this to help kids play soccer. It's going to cost you $900 for a 6-week course, 6-week program. And parents stand in line and write out checks. I've seen it. But not everybody has that. So the ones that don't. And they don't get the opportunities. So removing those barriers, that is a significant part of what we are looking at. Next. So what makes our program significantly different is we have a comprehensive curriculum. College-age students will attend any of the colleges in the local area. They will get about 30 hours a week of instruction in nutrition, leadership, strategy, tactics, team skills, individual skills, speed and agility, all of those kind of things. So they'll be significantly invested in their time. It will be residential, so they will live at a campus and they will come to our facility for different sessions. It'll be for men and for women, college aged. We will be very involved in the community in doing outreach to the community, coaching youth programs in the community, and working on making sure that we are not just focusing on developing this group. We want to aim all the way down to elementary and middle school as well, so that we build our pipeline. Thank you.
All right. I'm Roman Burks, and I have a mobile billboard advertising company. The greatest advantage to using mobile billboard advertising is the mobile billboards are used to share brands' messages, a brand's message with motorists and pedestrians in virtually any market. Our creative, larger-than-life moving ads are more likely to be noticed and recalled than all other billboards. No waiting for available billboard space in the right market. Mobile billboards are cost effective and offer the most exposure, experience constant growth without fail. Thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Sunshine Petrus, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about marketing. It's a big part of your business, and a lot of people really struggle with it. So just a few quick basics. If you need additional information or want to talk more about any of the stuff that I talk about, because there's a lot more to it, just let me know. I'd love to send you the presentation and schedule some time to talk a little bit more. So you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So the first thing is creating a Google My Business page. It literally drives me nuts when I see small businesses that don't have one of these. It's free and it's super quick and easy to create. So if you don't have one for your business, put that on your list of things to do. A website is a really important tool. Even though you may have created a Google My Business page, people can't really learn a lot about your business and how you might be able to help them without a website to really explain that. And Google is going to struggle to serve that information to people if they don't know more about your business. I see this a lot too. People will get a domain and create a website and it's great. And then they change companies and they get a new domain. Don't do that. You're really kind of losing a lot of the effort that you've put towards your website when you do that. Next slide. You also have to kind of do a little work to that Google My Business page and that website consistently in order to keep them performing well. If you never touch your website or your Google My Business page, Google starts to wonder if you're still in business, if you're doing anything different, how up to date and relevant your content on your website is. And so it's going to lower the opportunities that you have to be seen in front of people that want to do business with you already. The information that you put on your website, your social profiles, your Google My Business page, it needs to be very relevant and interesting information. You can post information about things that you offer, services you provide, and it is going to be helpful, but if it's not interesting, people are not going to want to look further into that. Sorry, thank you, that's okay. You also want to create as many social profiles and post as much valuable content to those profiles as often as possible. That's really just going to kind of help you. You can go and go to the next slide. To keep consistently, get into front of new people and share your message regularly. These are just a few ideas of things that you can do to keep consistent information, new information. I think collaborative giveaways work really, really well. They have to be done right, but everybody likes something free. So if you can collaborate, even with other businesses that you are familiar with or just kind of work well with, these things work great. Definitely encourage user-generated content. You can brag about how great your business is all day long, but people really want to know how people who are working with you feel. If you can get somebody to tag you on their social profile, that's just gaining more exposure to all of their contacts that you would not get without that. You want to dominate your social media presence. There's really a lot to that. So if you ever want to schedule time to visit more about that, I'd love to visit. Increase community engagement. We're kind of doing a little bit of that here. There's a lot that goes to that as well. Review your online directory listings. There are hundreds and hundreds of online directories. And if you're not in some of the ones that make sense for your business and your competitors are, you're probably losing some business to that competition. In addition, if you've changed phone numbers, locations, and that information is not consistent across all of the online directories, Google will put you lower in the rankings because they're not sure if that information is even accurate. And then enhancing your SEO strategy, and there's really kind of a lot to that as well, but there's a lot of pieces that need to be done regularly in order to keep a presence out there online where people are looking when they're looking for services and products. Okay, that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Hi there, I'm Tim Prosser, co-owner of Visual Media Services. Do you need help with your visual media projects? At VMS, we have you covered. From graphic design to video editing, we exceed our clients' expectations by providing them with creative, original solutions. By growing and investing in our relationships with talented people, our mission is to always provide exceptional visual media services to businesses just like yours. A good place to start with us is with a video business card. Video business cards are a fantastic way to make a first or second impression in an email, on a landing page, or on your website. Anyway, we should probably get back to work. Thank you for taking the time to watch this very short video. I look forward to meeting with you again very soon. How can we amaze you? Let's find out. So video business cards, it's a concept for some dynamic content for primarily emails, email communications. Essentially, it's a short 1-minute video, just like what you saw. I mean, there'll be more to it than just that, but it's an opportunity to present yourself in a professional manner in a very short, concise time. When it comes to marketing, email strategies and things, they're looking for dynamic content, well-produced content, and that's just one of the services that we offer and that we're promoting right now. So that is all.
Got it? All right, thanks. My name's Seth Peitzig. I do Seth Peitzig Consulting. I know it doesn't help a whole lot, but these are on your table for you to take notes. And now you're at speaker number 6 out of 8. So if you have not been taking notes, that's what that's for. Pick that up, have it, take it with you. The pens are there for you as well. Take those with you. Take all the notes you can in the next 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay. What I want to, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. One has nothing to do with the book of what I want to talk to you about, but I've been reading this book called Blue Fishing, and here's what it says on the back. The man who created Bluefish, the internationally famous company, makes once-in-a-lifetime events materialize for the rich and famous, reveals to the rest of us his trade secrets for making things happen. It's super quick read, really fantastic, lots of insight. Again, nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but I wanted to spend the first minute just pushing this book because it's really good. I wanted you to be able to jot that note down and take that with you. Another book that does have to do with what I'm talking about is called Vision Driven Leader by Michael Hyatt. Okay, Vision Driven Leader by Michael Hyatt. Came across it a few years ago and absolutely loved the concept. I loved it so much that I contacted Michael Hyatt's company and asked if he does any sort of training so that I could be a part of it and then be certified to go out and teach this vision-driven leader book. He doesn't. And so I told him, hey, I'm going to steal all your content then and coach people on it. And they said, as long as you talk to them about where you got the content, that's great. I said, fine, deal. So a lot of what I want to talk to you about today has to do with that concept of vision-driven leader, and then I want to take it just a step further. When you think of vision, I want you to think vision versus mission, okay? Vision versus mission. Mission is what it is you're out to accomplish. Vision is how you clarify the future. Okay, your vision is how you clarify the future. When I was listening to Kevin talk about his vision, I loved several parts of it. One is I want you to get away from vision statements. Okay, vision statements. Why? Because those become stagnant. Vision statements become stagnant, and then you become the blockbuster story of the early 2000s. And if I have time, we'll talk about that in a second. Man, that 5 minutes goes fast. What I like about what Kevin did with his is a part of his vision was barriers. And then he went on to define what the word barriers means in his vision. What makes that so great is that they need to go back and review his definition of barriers, and if those same barriers are in place in 2 years, or if he solved that problem, because your vision should be getting you somewhere, right? Your vision is the steps that you're taking in the future. The future should not always be out in front of you. You should be achieving those things, and that vision should change. Blockbuster didn't do that, and their vision was, we're going to be the most convenient way to get media out. That was, you can go and Google it now. That was their vision for the future. What they thought that is to be a brick and mortar building on every corner. So what CVS or Walgreens does now, and not that that's a bad model, especially if customer service is a big part of what you're wanting to do, but that wasn't in any of their vision. What it was is for us to be most convenient in the way that we get media out. They had a chance for $30 million to buy Netflix. And Netflix had this concept of how to get media out in the most convenient way. Perfect. This fits our vision. But they didn't see it. They got stuck in the definition of what convenience meant for them. Now, does anybody know how much Netflix is worth? $225 billion is what they're evaluated at. For $30 million, Blockbuster had an opportunity to do that. My goal is for that not to happen to your business. I want you to be able to process, and if these handouts are on your table, so you can pass these around and go from a vision statement to a vision doc. Alex was asking me how long I usually take to do this. It's usually a weekend that I take to work with organizations filling this out. And you break down, who is my customer in the future? What are we doing to reach that customer? Who are my employees and what are they going to look like in the future? Insert the timeline. Remember that that doesn't need to be stagnant. In 2 years, where do we want to be? What does that look like and how do we get there? There's your strategy, your tactics, and your why. Never forget your why. It's how you measure it later on and the reason that you did it in the first place. If you're not understanding your why, then your mission probably isn't being accomplished through your vision. Then we can go into how that affects culture later. There's my full 5 minutes. Thanks for letting me spout at you.
I'm Rochelle White. My husband was supposed to be up here with me, but he abandoned me. So he's right there, the traitor. We're the owners of Abilene Food Tour. And you're thinking, what is Abilene Food Tour? So it's a walking, eating tour of downtown Abilene. So we walk to 7 of the most delicious places in downtown Abilene. I take a group anywhere from 3 to 12, and we walk downtown and we stop at each stop for about 20 minutes. And each restaurant or brewery or eatery feeds their feature item, whatever they're feeling like that day to show off their stuff. And then either the owner or manager comes out and they give a history of how they got started and what makes them great. And so you get to eat delicious food, have great drinks, while learning about some of the downtown businesses of Abilene and how they got started. So it's a really fun tour. And then we just go to each stop, about 7 stops. It's about 3.5 hours long. I do it on a Saturday afternoon from 2 to 5:30. And it's delicious and fun, and you leave so full. So wear your stretchy pants and good walking shoes because it's fantastic. I started it December 2019 and went around to all these restaurants, and they're like, what is this lady? And my goal was, when my husband and I drive around to these little, downtown towns in Texas, they seem kind of run down, and the biggest businesses you see are Walmarts or Chili's, and the really small town feels like it's dying out. And it just made me so sad, and I wanted to do something to really promote small businesses and get that heartbeat going again. And I love the little mom and pop restaurants and stores, and I try to go to those, and because I've always tried to do my own little business, and it's hard to compete with those big stores just to get your prices where you need to be. So I think you have to be intentional to support small businesses. And so I wanted to do something, and I love food and people and walking. And so food tour is where we're at with that. So does anybody have any questions? No? I'll just share a little bit more. So I started in 2019, and it took about 4 months. My husband builds websites and does digital marketing. So I got him on building a website for me and trying to market it. And then I went into these restaurants, and I was kind of afraid. I have 6 kids, and I'm a mom, and I don't know how to talk to adults sometimes. And so I thought, okay, I can do this. I can talk to adults. So I walk in, and you meet the hostess first. And so to get to the owner who can make decisions, it felt like forever. And I had to do this with all these different restaurants. And anyway, I finally got it going, and I ran 2 tours, and it was so fun. And then COVID happened, and everything shut down. And through the COVID pandemic, things were kind of opening back up again, but I was really nervous. My parents both got coronavirus and got really sick, and I was nervous to get back out there. I thought, I don't want to be the reason that I kill somebody's mom because I have this virus and I don't know it. And so my husband and I ended up getting our vaccines, and things opened back up, and I thought, I can do this again. And there was a whole bunch more downtown restaurants that opened up through the COVID. They had built and opened up, so I was able to add a bunch more tours and get started again. And since then, we've had 3 tours that have gone on. And every tour I get, there's more people that sign up, and I've almost sold out twice. And so it's been really fun, and they're really a great group, and the restaurants do such a great job. Yes, for sure. So I can list all of them. Vagabond Pizza, the Brick Oven Pizza Place, Cypress Street, The Local, Grain Theory, Vlita's Candy Shop, The Mill, Sock Dolliger, and I'm working on our bar and grill as well. So 54 per person, and then I've just added an alcohol package if you want to get that, and it's extra $20 per person. And each place they let you pick, so lots of times they'll have wines that they offer, or they're fun breweries, and they're really great breweries. They do a really good job, and it's fun for me, even though I've been a ton on the tour. It's fun because sometimes, like Cypress Street, for example, they do catering, and one time they had a whole bunch of leftover brisket that they had cooked forever, and so that day for the tour they had this brisket soup, and she's like, we made this brisket soup for you guys, and I was like, great. So every week it's kind of something new and something fun, and it's great for family. Even though I've just done a few tours, people are already wanting to come back because they go, my sister's in town, I'm wanting to come back. And the restaurants take such good care of us. They the owners, most of them, the owners come out and tell us all about their history. And every time I go, I learn something new. And they're just so gritty and fabulous at what they do. And they really pour love. You're not getting a crap product. You're getting the best of the best. So come on a food tour.
Howdy, I'm Scott Pardee, Pardee Coaching and Consulting. We've got a quick presentation. So I want to start out and go to the next slide, tell you a little bit about me, because that way you might figure out whether you need me or not. And hopefully you do. So Pardee, I spent 25 years in manufacturing, quality assurance, quality system, and project management with a Fortune 100 company. As a QA manager, I had 6 years where every single year, every single key business indicator improved. And we weren't at the bottom of the list. We had 80 production facilities, and we were in the top 20% at the beginning of those 6 years. And in many of those areas, we were number 1 or number 2 by the end of my 6 years. So quality systems manager, which if you don't know the difference, quality assurance is making sure the product's good. Quality system is building a process and system for the facility. And a lot of small businesses could use that. That's one thing that I'm starting to work with some local small businesses on, is developing processes on how to do things in an orderly manner so that they can be repetitive and successful. I've been a certified project management professional for 11 years. I've started 3 small businesses. Some of those are multiple faceted, and I've been a rental property investor. So why coaching and consulting? Well, because I wanted it to the name to describe what I do, because I actually do both. So consulting is my primary, primary thing. And I do consulting in project management, quality data collection, and analysis. So a lot of companies gather a lot of data, a lot of information, but don't know what to do with it. Okay, even large corporations. The company I worked for had tons of data and didn't use a lot of it and weren't always collecting the right data. So
we started putting in a system to collect the right data. Then we started showing them how to use that data to literally in the first 6 months of a project, we returned over $16 million to that company, which was significant even for that company. I led 2 multi-million-dollar deployments across North America, US and Canada. And so I know that. Quality systems, we developed a system for training, auditing, corrective actions, documentation, and even a small business needs those categories. Those are part of ISO, if you're familiar with ISO. And so you may not think you need that, but if you're going to grow, you need to build processes so as you grow, you stay consistent and you can develop those and grow those processes with you. And then from a coaching perspective, the next slide, one of the things I've done for several years, 15, 20 years, is helped people individually. And I really started formalizing that about 4 or 5 years ago with personal financial coaching and focusing on budgeting, debt elimination. That was a big deal for us. I woke up about 16 years ago with a negative net worth, which is pretty discouraging, and realized I really didn't have anything to sell to pay it off completely. I mean, I would have been in a hole big time. And so I took an initiative and worked on that and definitely have changed that perspective. And as we move from debt to wealth management and wealth accumulation, we need to think of why we're doing that. And so my coaching is very principle based and things that work every time for everybody. And now as part of that, I'm starting to work with a couple local small businesses in helping them, coach them on organizing their business and making it a little bit stronger and more sustainable. So if you're interested or you have questions, you can go to the next slide. Pardee Coaching and Consulting, my contact information is up there. Feel free to give me an email or a phone call, and we'll talk about what you need and what I can do for you.
Wow, you guys did great. What time is it? Like 5 till or something? 7 till. Look at that. Under the 40-minute mark. That's pretty good. Of course, Roman helped us out quite a bit with his 1-minute presentation. That kind of got us over the hump. So, but Roman has, I'll speak to his mobile billboards. He does have some handouts, right? On his brochures. And so to find out more about his business, go ahead and he'll be happy to give you one of those handouts to take a look at it. But anyway, any comments before we close out today? We got like 3 minutes. Everybody's talked out, huh? Okay, very good. Well, it was great to see everybody. We'll be back here next month, the second Monday of the month. And look for us on Facebook. I think we probably did okay this time and got it up there right. So thanks for coming, you guys. And thanks to all the speakers. Let's give them a hand once again. Thank you.